bill and applied the 11.25 to 12.25%, that would tell you what your cost would be.
Is this a permanent increase?
Sorry,
Is this a permanent increase?
this would be an increase until the bond is paid off. So it would be for 25 years if it's bonded for 25 years. Once the bond is paid off, that's the end of the tax. It's an exclusion that is outside of the normal operating budget for real estate taxes. So it's only in place as long as the bond is there.
And do we know how long that is?
Well, again, it's
The estimate we've used here is 25 years.
My other question was in regards to how environmentally friendly this building is, because based on the pictures I've seen, I think the cars are environmentally friendly.
I don't know if that was
School bus is even smaller.
I don't know if that was by intent or not. Brad, do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, we hope it's environmentally friendly. We're intending to be environmentally friendly, and the building committee has supported actually pursuing again a LEED for Schools project through the United States Green Building Council. So there are a number of different criteria. We talked a little bit about recycling, but there are a host of issues in terms of, we talked about getting natural light into the building, using low VOC materials, using recycled content materials. So there's a whole number of sustainable design requirements that will go from our office that go into the drawings and specifications and then are ultimately carried out by the construction manager and then his subcontractors under him. So right now, our firm is targeting a gold level project. We've been successful as a firm in being able to do that, and we don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to do that here, which is the second highest level that's currently available under the LEED program. Perhaps, there's one of the areas is to look at renewable energy, whether that's solar, photovoltaic. We haven't got to that level of design yet, but it's certainly something that would be considered. And all of these would go through a cost-benefit analysis to determine whether or not that's ultimately the best bang for the taxpayer dollar. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So there are a number of different ways to look at trying to achieve similar goal by going at it from different angles.
But Jerry, I think also one benefit with the MSBA is they provide us a commissioning agent at no cost to the project. And this commissioning agent is going to be working hand in hand with the mechanical people near the end of the project when we operate all the equipment to make sure it's running at its optimum efficiency and capacity. So that's could be $125,000, $150,000 consultant that the MSB is giving us because they value that operational efficiency.
And 2% reimbursement.
Thank you. Yes. Don't be shy.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. You're building the high school up where the middle school is, and it's going to be during the school year. So what about the disruption of the kids in the middle school?
You know, I've been waiting for somebody to ask that question. Who wants to tackle that?
I can answer it. Again, the sequence is going to go from building a new high school, moving the middle kids into this high school, and then we renovate the middle school. So there's always that separation. And while the middle school renovation is going on, there'll be barriers so no one can go in from workers or students going into the construction side. So we've done this several times, and I think this is actually a good plan as far as noise, dust mitigation, and safety. So I think we do it. Most Brad, you want to add some more?
Yeah, and I know your initial question, your concern is obviously when they're building the high school in the core facilities, and as it approaches the existing middle school, how is that going to be is that going to be a distraction for the middle school students? Yeah.
I think just to follow on what Chris said, it's not uncommon at all to be able to go and renovate an existing building or put an addition onto an existing building, which is essentially what we're doing here. I'm not going to lie to anybody, it is a construction project, so there is some disruption, but we certainly attempt to try and go and mitigate that to the greatest extent possible by putting in, the appropriate level of barricades. There is separation in terms of work limits for the contractor. And then we're also going to try and take advantage of summer or off periods to do some of that work where we can. But it is construction, and for a certain period of time, there will be some disruption. But I think, again, having a CM on board, working as part of the team, we're able to mitigate that disruption as much as possible.
We are confident that the way we're going to stage this is going to be the least amount of disruption to the students. I don't know if people or everybody in here knows that when we renovated the Batchelder School and added on to the Batch, we had to take the entire Batchelder School population and send them to Stoneham for 2 years. And people said we couldn't do it, it wouldn't work, they were upset about it, and it worked out well. I think there'll be a lot less interference with this project with the students than certainly there was back when we did the Batchelder. Anyone else?
Regarding that, it seems like there's only one road to access the school, whereas now we have at least two. And I'm guessing there's students who walk to school or bike to school that go through the neighbor, the back door, back access. So would there be any congestion or especially problems for students who walk or bike to school?
That's a good question. I'll ask Brad to talk to that. We do have a meeting tomorrow morning with, I think it's tomorrow, Brad, right? With representatives from the town. And certainly we're going to meet tomorrow with the police department, the fire department, the Department of Public Works. And one of the things obviously we're going to talk about are traffic patterns and traffic flow and things like that. But again, Brad, if you want to address the access and the egress to the site.
Yeah, in terms of vehicular traffic, I think we'll be improving things by being able to get cars off of the street and onto the site, so that in terms of the congestion periods, drop off and pick up in the afternoon, there'll be an opportunity for cars to queue up on that site because it is a fairly long access road. There's separate drop-offs for the parents and for pickup and for bus, as well as there's pedestrian access. I don't think that we're actually improving or creating any additional hardship there, because we're going to have the same access from the high school coming up the road there, and the same access that would be available to pedestrians or people who are students who are biking. Those same access points would be available, so I don't think we're really changing that.
Yes, sir, right in the middle there, Steve.
I just want to follow up on Marilio's point. When I look at the access road, anytime you want to go from the school to any of the fields, you're going to have to cross it. So I guess it's something that I'd like you to bring up in your meeting with the town planners.
Okay.
Because I see that as a potential
Yeah, no, again, that's the reason.
accident waiting to happen possibly, so.
Yep, that's the reason we're meeting tomorrow with, again, the police, the fire, and the DPW.
And is there a difference in the number of parking spaces that will be available after the project as to compared to now?
There are significantly more parking spaces available after the project. Brad can give you the exact number. I think we're going to have 650 versus...
We have 450 up top, and then 185 down the bottom, so what's that, 635?
Yeah.
And then I think we had about 330 and 125, so that's 455.
Be about a third more parking spaces available for the two schools than we have right now.
One other small question about the collaboration space is something I was very interested in, and it's just wonderful to hear that. And there needs to be a lot more of that kind of collaboration for kids coming out, getting into college and getting out into the real world, because that's all we do out there. So make sure you have the technology and the collaborative spaces. So any of the projection, the internet, the connections, so you can pipe that right in. And you need to definitely make sure to be able to have the art students with the science students. Not just the math and the science together. They already know each other. They're the same kids most of the time. You need to get the artists and the scientists together, because that's when you really start making improvements and getting things that are really innovative.
We'll have all the brain power on one side of the school. All right. Yes.
Hi, The tax rate increase, 11 and a quarter to 12 and a quarter, is that just going to the homeowners, or is that also going to be going to business owners that are in North Reading also?
We have the same tax rate for everyone here in North Reading, so it'll be spread across everybody equally at this point in time. Yes.
Hi, I'm just wondering, you have 11.5%, 11.25%, and 12.25% for the tax rate increase. If we went with a $47 million, just bring buildings up to code, what is that rate? Because we're paying either way. I think it's important for people to know.
Did you hear that, John?
Yeah, we haven't calculated what that would be, but you could probably extrapolate. It depends upon when the $47 million is spent. We're looking at what Brad talked about was over 10 years. It would have to do these improvements and deferred maintenance projects in schools. So you would end up spending that much money, but you would spend it on a different schedule than you would with the construction of the building. It may be, I don't know, $4 million a year for over the 10 years plus escalations. And that would obviously have an impact on the taxes every year if it was all done with a debt exclusion. But we don't have that calculation. But
We'd probably be coming to you every year asking for more money to do different things to the buildings to upgrade them.
Right, so you're eventually getting pretty close to what we would have had with the new project.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate statement. Yes, it would.
I think it's
You know,
important
the
to
difference
know
is,
that we're not walking away from this. If you feel turn it down, it doesn't go away. Your dime is still being spent.
believe me, these facilities are not going to improve without us spending some money. That's a given.
you'd be paying you the $47 million and $55 to $60 million. If you want to think of it in total costs that are being spent over some period of time.
Anyone? Yes. Yeah.
This question is for Janine and Brianna. There is an awful lot of information, very valuable information that's been shared tonight, and thank you all for your hard work at this project. It's very exciting and it's very encouraging. But how do we encourage other people to come learn more about this? Where do they go? And how do we stay informed as a community as this progresses?
Earlier on in September and October and November, we were going out to all of the different PAs and PTOs and presenting to them, as well as the school council meetings. On top of that, the school committee travels to the different schools, and we are presenting there to a larger forum. There is every month a couple of drop-in informal forums at the library activity room. The December ones are December 6th and December 16th from 10 to 11. There are also a second forum coming up on January 18th. But all of this information should be on our website, which is listed, as well as if you have any questions, you could contact any of us through the website, or I have at all of our practices been having people, if they wish to, they could sign up for informational emails to be sent out. So we've been acquiring your emails, and as things progress, we can send that out to you as well. I know Andrew has been a huge help in sending out information via their constant contact as well.
Janine is now the most well-known person in North Reading. She's been everywhere in town. She's essentially the spokesperson. She's the spokesperson for the secondary school building committee. We do have, as Janine said, next Monday, I believe, we have our meeting, our school committee meeting at the middle school, which we usually do. And I think at that time, we're going to be giving probably a 30-minute presentation at that meeting as well. And then we have a meeting at the Hood School, I believe, sometime in December. Again, we'll be giving a 30-minute presentation. And then at the high school in January, obviously before the MSBA goal. So the other thing I wanted to add, Jeff Simons is here. Jeff is a community activist, to say the least, and he has volunteered to head up the ballot question committee. Once the Board of Selectmen put the question on the ballot, and that question is whether or not we're going to pass the override for the funding. Jeff is going to be organizing a ballot committee to publicize and to promote the school project. Jeff, why don't you say, somebody give Jeff a microphone down there?